We're in, I think it's week 13 of the legislative session, and one of the bills that has not been heard, even though the chair of the appropriate committee had promised to hear it 3 or 4 weeks ago, is the bill to provide an extension to the deadline for reauthorizing charter schools. So as stands today, about a third of the charter schools across the state will be closing this summer because of the lack of action by this legislature. Perhaps, how does that impact the modeling that was done on the bill around integration aid and other levies if we see a movement of students from charter schools to the traditional publics because of the lack of action?
There's obviously a significant interaction there if the policy committee or this legislature were not to act on that matter. In terms of the modeling that you asked about, I do not believe, and Mr. Strong can correct me if I'm wrong, I don't believe we are modeling a level of closure in charter schools that you are that you alluded to, or else we would see zeros on our spreadsheets.
It looked like Mr. Strom wanted a piece of this as well.
Mr. Strom?
Mr. Chair, Representative Davine, in terms of the property tax impacts, the referendum, the operating referendum, which is the main levy that would vary by pupil count, is based on the resident pupil count in the district. So whether the charter school students return to their resident districts or not would not affect the operating referendum levy. Most of the other levies are not based on a pupil count. For example, the debt levy for the Minneapolis School District is based on the total number of dollars of bonds that that district has issued, and so would not vary by the number of students that are attending the school. Instead, it's the dollars that are needed to repay the bonds. So the addition of a substantial number of pupils to any to any district would modify that district's tax base per pupil unit and would slightly come into play for those that qualify for equalization. But a district like Minneapolis doesn't qualify for debt equalization. So on that levy for Minneapolis, there would probably be no effect on a property poor district that had a fair number of students return. That district would be even yet more property poor on a per pupil basis. And so an infusion of students would lead to slightly higher state aid and a lower levy amount because of that change in the pupil's tax base per pupil.